I see a lot of people putting their school leaving photographs up on social media, even though they're not leaving school. So this is one of my photographs of when I left school, straight into the Royal Navy in September 1979. Middle row, third from the left. This is me in HMS Bacchante. This is the Royal Marines and Gunners mess deck. Those things that are actually above our heads there, that's our beds. We used to have to make them every night and put them back every morning. This is the back or the rear on the flight deck. Inside the hangar there was the helicopter, and that's us just having a little bit of a break after we've been working all day in the boiling hot 100 degrees. Here is all of the, well, not all of them. Here's some of the Gunners and Royal Marines on the quarter deck. On the left hand side there you'll see the big mortars. There's big mortars there that would fire from the back of the ship. So we practice firing them and hitting the target, and that's us blowing it up, hitting the target. This is all in the Red Sea or in the Persian Gulf during the Iran-Iraq war. So we were serving in the war zone there, protecting the British shipping. As we were going, this is in the Mediterranean, we actually shaved all our hair off because we were going to be away for nearly the whole year. So we wanted to make a bit of fun, so everybody had their head shaved. This is me with a couple of Royal Marines, my friends. They're standing again on the quarter deck there. That's why the netting is on the barriers, so that you could put it down for the helicopter landing. There we go, a few months into the trip, just before we got to Kenya. We went to Mombasa in Kenya. So a few months later, you can't help but your hair growing. Look at those sideburns. But come on, this was the very early 80s. And that's when we got into Mombasa in Kenya. Don't worry, the tusks are not real. They were made of steel. Horrible looking things they were. But yeah, that's the main street in Mombasa in Kenya. Very good trip ashore. Then we went to Somalia, Mogadishu in Somalia next. And that is us going on a trip, going along to visit an orphanage that was near the jungle. So you can tell, obviously, we have the white front, as it's called, the top. And then this is where we went into the jungle. And that's me and Dusty Miller there, hiding behind some grass in the wild jungle, just before we went along to visit the allegedly being in the Royal Navy. Only allegedly.
Hi there, how are you doing? Been a while since I've done a video in a car. Haven't actually been out in it that much, with so much work going on. But I have done plenty of the videos, a lot of interviews with people, being it on all different types of topics, the corruption that we're living through, health-wise. Wow, he's a big dog, massive, great big dog, but I've seen him before, huge. But anyway, and I've got some really good interviews coming up as well, so keep an eye out for them, for many different things, you know. Some of them, you know, it's like interviewing people who've, like, I don't know how you would class it, so like maybe he's been on the wrong side of, like, say, law, right, or the wrong side of legal, that's for sure, you know. But very spiritual people, you're fighting spiritually and also fighting this horrendous legal system. Just showing you that you don't have to be, you know, a big softy to be spiritual. You can be like a man. Very few of them seem to be around at the minute, you know. Especially in that movement that they call, like, the truth movement. You've got to remember, like, that word, the truth, it's a legal word, it's not a lawful word, and it only means an opinion, and that's why they use it in the legal system. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? They're not asking for anything that is true. They're only asking you for your opinion. Give me your opinion. Your whole opinion and nothing but your opinion, and that's all it is. Whereas, like, we actually should be talking words that are true. Not many are capable of that at the minute at all. But I mean, you know, all this, I mean, I get it, right? Well, people want to go and stick photographs of me up on their Facebook pages. I know I'm a very handsome chap, so they can go and have me, or there's their pin-up poster on their bedroom wall, so they put it on their Facebook wall. But you're barking up the wrong tree, you know. I'm a very happily married man. I have been for well over 30 years, and that's never going to change. And if anything ever did change, as in, like, you know, something disastrous happened, then I was left, you know, partnerless, shall we say, then believe me, I will sail this ship alone. Allegedly, because like allegedly I was only ever allegedly, like, you know, on a ship, or I was only allegedly in the armed forces, I was only allegedly in the Royal Navy. Some people are just such childish fools. This baiting is ridiculous. But also this last one, you know, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations, is government legislation, right? Wherever you want to call it. So, you know, you cannot say at all categorically that GDPR is your property, be it your intellectual property, or your I invented this system, or, you know, that is embarrassing. You are embarrassing yourself. You are literally embarrassing yourself to say such stupid things. Everybody can see you, everybody sees you. We will know them by their fruits. Yeah, we will know them by their fruits. What they produce shows their real character. So GDPR and Data Protection 2018 is a fantastic system if you want to actually fight, you know, say it would be a credit card debt, or a bank loan debt, or say in some ways the council, right, saying that they have a liability order, because we know the system that they use is 100% fraudulent. It's coming out more and more where you're actually having judges that are stating it point blank that this is not a court order. You cannot have a court order made by a council sitting in a little office on their own with no court stamp, no signatures, no legally executed liability order. So I would actually be sending an SAR, that stands for Subject Access Request. You are the subject and you're requesting access to all of the data that is held on you. Now, you want to know how to do all that? Look under the government website, just Google it, GDPR Article 15. And it will show you on there. That is a government website. It is the GDPR website. It's nobody else's apart from theirs. Nobody can own it. Nobody can say, oh, well, you know, an SAR is mine. Well, how? When it's like the government saying under GDPR or General Data Protection Regulations, you are allowed, an individual, I think the wording is allowed to send this subject access request for your data, and what they're doing with it for this the data controller. And if they breach the GDPR, if they breach the regulations, if they breach their duty, and they have a legal obligation to supply all of the data requested. Now, I've seen a lot of these SARs, and they've got 3,482.5 questions in, and it's just ridiculous, right? And it's an excuse for them not to answer it. They'll be using the defense of like, well, I didn't answer it because we couldn't comprehend it, or they'll say they didn't understand it, there was too many questions in, we didn't know what to do with it. You only need 2, 3, 4 questions. That's all you need. So, and it depends on what it's for. You know, like I just mentioned, the council tax. If it was a council tax, look, there's a van driving past. It's got White Knight written on. Knight. Eh? With a K. Buffoon. Absolute buffoon. But anyway, so if it was like to the council, maybe send it to the debt collector for the council, but definitely send it to the council as well. And you ask, just, there's only one question to ask, or maybe 2 questions. First question would be, You know, under GDPR and DPA 2018, we are sending an SAR request under Article 15 of the GDPR, and we are requesting the data. We need to see the proof of a legally executed liability order on court-headed paper with a magistrate's signature. And you get all these lies and excuses about, oh, we do it electronically, we do it. No, they do not. They actually sit in an office and do it themselves, and then when they actually send it out, then they say, oh, show me the liability order. The council themselves will send a bit of horribly printed out paper on the council, on council paper, you know, never been near a court. And anyone who says that oh yes it is, it's just the way they do it, well, all right, get on with your life and leave everyone else alone to like fight the system properly. You know, it's just a bigger problem as the council, just a bigger problem as their fake courts. All of these admin courts are absolutely completely corrupt and fake. We need to get it into a high court where you're going to actually get some justice, or get somebody who's got a brain cell that can actually talk about what is the law. Their law still, I know what I'm talking about. It's even acts and statutes, but it's still the same thing when you actually want to get a hearing from. There's lots of traffic here. I'm not coming back this way. So they're building a new railway station. Anyway, so like GDPR and then SAR, some people call it a DSAR, right? Data Subject Access Request. But you know, if you look like, say, Nigel Farage last year, I do believe, when they froze him out of his bank, then he sent an SAR. He didn't know what one was. Someone was explaining it to him. Oh, well, the best go and like try and get them because there's only a Facebook group and they're only ones that are allowed to use it. You know, so foolish. You know, these people that act like petulant little children. It's actually very embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself, not acting like a man, and trying to actually state that government legislation is yours and yours alone to use. I mean, how ridiculous is that? There isn't a single one of the, you know, and then saying to actually fight it, oh, your what is it he said? He uses initials, but it's like free man on the land is what I think he's trying to actually say. You know, as in, you know, what they're trying to say is like there's no such thing as the law. There's only legal. Well, then when you're using the GDPR stuff, DPA 2018, it's actually you know, these are Data Protection Act, Data Protection Act. So it's an act of Parliament, therefore it's a statute, therefore it's a legal system. So we're actually using the legal system. So nothing about free man or sovereign or anything like that. You're actually using their rules in their system because they're breaking all of their rules. It doesn't matter if it's the council doing that fake liability order, and it is completely and utterly fake. There is no court in the land that's actually approved it, signed it, and you've never had any due process. You do realise you do need due process. If you don't know what due process is, then get on your research, because everyone has the right to be heard and due process needs to be done and completed. So if you have any kind of court summons, be it from the fake courts or whatever, you still have due process. What it means is you have the right to be heard. So you need to put your side of the case to the court. But none of that happens because they actually do. For instance, the liability orders for a council, they just do them all at the same time. So where is the due process in that? Where is the actual law in that? So they don't hear anything, they don't hear cases. And I do know that the councils actually send you your summons and say do not attend. Well, that's a breach of that's a breach of due process. They're actually breaking all of their own rules all of the time. But the biggest one that they're breaking is by doing a fake liability order. It is not a court order. They are lying. That is a lie. So you can apply, and you know, you don't try and go and prove fraud because you're never going to get there. You're wasting your time, you know. But what you can do is you can apply for the SAR, and you request specifically, I need to see a copy of the legally executed liability order on court-headed paper with a magistrate's signature, knowing that it's been in a court. And all support, and question number 2, if there was a second question, would be, and all supporting evidence to prove that this is a legally executed liability order from a court, right? And that's the 2 that you would put into there to a council. And you could send that also to the debt collectors, you know, that are trying to enforce the debt on behalf of the council. You know, and they say, well, you know, we get our authority from the council. That's all they say. Well, you know, we're just doing our job because we get our authority from the council. So literally what they're saying is, we don't need proof. We don't need proof whatsoever that we have the authority or the jurisdiction to try and enforce this liability order. You know, we just need to be told by the council. So that, you know, literally they can go and collect money with no proof that you owe a debt. That's what they're saying. You know. So, and then when it's coming to what I actually talk about, which is the credit created debt, i.e. bank loans and credit cards. Now, I'm not going to go down the line of, like, you know, you created it, it was a financial instrument, i.e. a promissory note, you created the credit, the bank took the credit and they kept it. Yeah, we know all that, but I'm not talking about that because, again, you know, are you going to be able to prove it? It's going to be long-winded. Are you just batting these debt collectors away? I don't want you to be batting them away. I want you to be attacking them, right? And attacking them using GDPR and DPA 2018. It tells you exactly how to do it, right? If you go and research on the website, go and have a look and say, Article 15, tell me how, Google it, right? Article 15, tell me how to complete an SAR.
So let's have a look at the Google results then. So we're searching for Article 15 on GDPR, and this is what comes up. It's actually somebody else's website, but there was many of them, and it shows you Article 15, your right to access by the data subject, showing you how to do an SAR, subject access request. And then the next page shows you, or the next search shows you Article 82, which is your right to compensation if they have breached your data under GDPR. Under Article 82, you have the right to compensation for the distress of them concealing your data, i.e. not showing you all of the data or the legally executed liability order for council tax or legally executed deed of assignment for debts. And here's where you make a complaint, your ICO, make a complaint. All you got to do is follow the instructions.
All right, tells you exactly how to do it, as nobody has got an IP to say that they own an SAR or a method on how to actually find your data from a debt collector or any corporation at all, actually. You know, it's embarrassing to state such lies. And then once you've actually done that, you know, you're going to send your SAR and you're going to request the actual information. And after you've requested the information, so say it is for a debt, right? There's 2 different ways that the debt collector are going to do it. I'm going to actually go through. I've done it before. I did a presentation over in Cumbria at that WTF, you know, the weekend event. You know, it's starting to rain here now. It rained all that weekend as well. And I showed them, I went through it step by step, how to actually go and file against the debt collectors for breaching your data. And they are breaching your data. If they do not supply you with the data, now you have to remember that if, say for instance, and we just won that court case against PRA, although we didn't, I'm saying won the court case, it was a default judgment, right? So forgive me for that, it's a default judgment, it wasn't a case because they didn't turn up. How can they turn up? They haven't got a deed of assignment, they haven't got a legally executed deed of assignment. So they're not going to turn up to fight their evidence, and the judge goes, all right, come on, then show me your evidence. Oh, we forgot it. So anyway, so you send off your SAR and you're going to ask for, I need to see a copy of the legally executed deed of assignment, and it's going to be under the Law of Property Act, Miscellaneous Provisions 1989, which describes how they actually have to create the deed, and also all done under Law of Property Act 1925, Section 136. Again, okay, You're asking for that. And then the second question can be, and all evidence to support that it is a legally executed deed of assignment, and that's it. You know, you don't need to ask any more questions than that. You don't want to know, like, where's your contract, where's this, where's that. You don't need to know that. That's not even, it's not even like anything to do with it. You know, it's not about the actual debt collector. You don't need to worry about contracts and all of that. It's not applicable. So all you need to do is ask for that, the legally executed deed of assignment, because if they've said, we've purchased your loan, that is a claim. They are alleging that they have a legally executed deed of assignment. Now you need a deed because a debt is classed as property. So it has to come under, right, the Law of Property Act 1925. And it has to, if any property, a property being a thing, and anything as it comes down and you look under the chose of action, it means it's a chose in action. So if they're saying they have the chose in action, they have to have the deed to say they've transferred it, okay? A deed of assignment. It needs to be a legally executed deed. I mean, you wouldn't go in and allow someone to take your house without, you know, they say, oh, we bought it, you know, well, prove it. Well, I don't have to prove I bought it. I'm just taking it. You know. Well, where's your deeds? I haven't got any. You know. I'm just going to take the house and then take your deeds. Now that is rated, isn't it? Can you hear that? It's pouring. You can hardly see anything driving. Right. So like that's where it all comes from, and the deeds have to be executed legally. It's the same as when you're transferring, right, a deed on the land registry. It has to be done, it has to be executed as a deed. That means a legally executed deed, deed of transfer, let's say. So on a debt, they need to have the deed itself, because the debt is a thing, so the debt is property. So the debt needs to be transferred with a deed of assignment in this case. Simple as that. That's the actual way, that's the legislation, how it's laid out. And all of it, let's call it law. The law, like in England, is all about property. Okay? Hang on. So keep it simple. Now, all of this information is all available on government websites. All of this information is on the government website. You want to look at the Law of Property Act 1925, right? You want to look at the Law of Property Act Miscellaneous Provisions 1989. It's all on there, right? You cannot, nobody can say, oh, that's mine. That's my intellectual property. I'm the one that actually told the government to create that. And also it tells you on like I said, Article 15 tells you how to do the SAR. Just don't make sure you don't go and write like 7,000 ridiculous questions. Wow, I'm not getting out of the car. I'm actually just driving to the farm. Gonna get some eggs. I think I might sit in the car for a little bit. I have to get back quickly as well though, because we've got an appointment for the dogs as well. We had some treatment on for them. Bioresonance. Not vets. Don't like vets. Or at least don't like pharmaceutical enthusiastic vets. So, right, just bear that in mind. Like all like Article 15 tells you exactly how to do the SAR and what you can do with it, and then it's going to show you as well. Look at Article 82 on GDPR, and it'll show you how you can claim, or why you can claim for compensation, because they've breached your data. They are breaching the regulations by not giving you your data. If they allege they have purchased your debt, then they have to have, by both of those acts there, the Law of Property Act 1989 and 1925, they have to have a legally executed deed, in this case a deed of assignment, and it'll tell you all about it. In fact, if you go and actually look at Equity and Trust by the private law tutor, it tells you all about deeds in there as well, and how they have to use deeds to transfer, but be it on property, which land has to be transferred with a deed. So if you have a trust with no, and you've got property with no mortgage on, it's classed as land. and the only way you can transfer land by English law, we'll just call it English law, is with a deed. So you've got to have a legally executed deed, and this is the same, you know. So there's a lot of different things that you can actually read, and I've spent a lot of my money, a lot of my fiat currency, and tons of my time on researching all of this and finding out about it, and then, you know, really studying on how to actually go through on the civil procedure rules. So the green book, you ever heard of the green book, civil procedure rules? And it shows you on the court rules what you have to do excuse me, if you want to put in a claim. So you use the two of them together. So again, it's all about disclosure, and that's how we'll do it. I mean, that green book there, that's, I can't remember how I got mine first or second hand, I can't remember, but it's about 600 quid. You know, I bought it, I didn't ask anyone else for the money, right? I did it, and then I've been researching it, reading it, and seeing how you can actually do it. So you've got to make sure that if you do either a defense, which is the last one that we did, okay, when we got the default judgment, we didn't win the case because we didn't get to do the case because they didn't turn up. PRA group did not turn up, obviously, because I had no evidence. All right, but we're actually using the CPR. I think Richie did it on 18 as well as 31.6, where you're asking for what documents you need disclosed for the case, and they have to disclose what they're relying on. What are they relying on? They're relying on a legally executed deed of assignment. Have they got one? Have they? No, they haven't. Not gonna swear. All right, so all of that information is there. It's all, maybe not, but actually probably is freely available if you go and Google it, and then go on to the government websites and then have a look at Civil Procedure Rules 31.6. You'll probably be able to see it without having to buy the books, right? But I did buy the books, so I've actually read through them while I'm actually trying to build this case on how to actually file a claim when they are concealing your data. Now, this is the thing. So if they've said, I've purchased your debt, they are alleging, they're making a claim that they have a legally executed deed of assignment. Now, do you think when you do your SAR, subject access request, asking for that data, they're going to, what they turn around is they always say, no, we don't need to show you that. We don't need to show, we don't need a deed of assignment. We don't need this, we don't need that. Obviously, they're liars, they're telling lies. Right, so when you get them replies, don't panic about it. Don't like, you know, oh no, they've said they don't need it. They're lying. The debt collectors, they do lie. All right, I mean, you know, like, what type of being is a debt collector, or works for a debt collector, works as that type of, you know, I mean, you know, what kind of character are you? So they're definitely gonna lie, if nothing else. Here I am at the farm. Still raining, but not as bad. Wow. Seems that everybody wants to be farming today. This is busy. Mind you, they've got like a lovely cafe in here as well. There's probably people. It's a great farm shop though. So that's how you should go about doing it. And that's like you doing your subject access request. Stick to very, very specific, not a massive amount of questions, especially if you're doing it for a debt. All you need to know is about like the legally executed deed of assignment. So you're going to do like your first SAR, then what you do is you give them 30 days to reply. It doesn't matter what reply they send. If they do not send you a copy of the legally executed deed of assignment, which they do not have, because they only buy it in block data, they never buy your debt, they buy your data. That's the point. So what they're going to do then is you're going to send them a second. Doesn't matter if it takes them a week to actually respond, or if they don't respond in a month, then you send your second SAR repeating the question, where's the legally executed deed of assignment, please? And then you tell them you've got 7 days to reply with it, or we're going to actually complain to the ICO, Information Commissioner's Office. I know they're not going to do anything, but you need your paper trail of evidence to put your case in. So you complain you can go onto the ICO website, just Google ICO file a complaint. You'll get it. Follow the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. That's all you have to do. Do what they tell you on the website. After you've sent that, give them another 7 days. Obviously, after you've sent the ICO complaint in, don't wait for a reply from the ICO. Right, half the time they don't even bother. Then what you do is you actually send them what we call like a notice before action. Some people call it a letter before action. Some people call it a notice before claim. Some people call it a letter before claim. But you're telling them, we're going to give you another 7 days. We're really disappointed that you've actually breached our data, or you are not supplying us with our data. Right? We feel distressed. And if we do not get a result, if you do not give us our data within 7 days, we are going to have to be forced to make a further complaint to the ICO, and then we're going to actually have to start legal proceedings. Then you give them that 7 days, and then obviously they can't give you anything because they haven't got a legally executed deed of assignment. So then what you're going to do is you're going to send them an intent to prosecute. We're going to give you 7 days final notice. You can either settle out of court now, right, or we're going to put in a claim, right, for £5,000 for the distress you've caused and the inconvenience of us having to deal with this matter. And then, you know, after that 7 days, like generally the sometimes you might even like send a reply. We actually got one. We did file a complaint just a few weeks ago. We're coming to the end soon, so we're gonna hopefully get into the actual claiming process, because we filed all of the evidence online, and they sent a threatening letter, the actual debt collectors. You know, when they send a solicitor's letter, they're all the same people, you know, so they've got all of these 4 or 5 different debt collectors. They're all owned by the same group of people, and then the solicitors that they use, they're actually just the same people from the same company, right? It's not like a separate office or anything. It's just all a scam. So, and they sent a threatening letter saying, we're gonna you know, they were demanding medical evidence of how you could be distressed. It doesn't state that anywhere at all in any of the legislation that they need medical proof that you were distressed. But also they were saying, you know, we're going to end up, you will get loads more costs. It was a really aggressive letter. But that's what they're like, you know, they're just scumbags. So, you know, then we're waiting for that, and that's going to be the next case that we're going to have success with, because obviously they haven't got a legally executed deed of assignment. They cannot supply us with the evidence. They cannot supply us with what they alleged or they claimed. So there we go. Now all of what I've just explained, I mean, we've got videos on it, we've done videos on it. Did like they probably got a video of that event at Cumbria that I went to, WTF. It was a bit rushed because we're running out of time and there was a schedule to keep to. But look at the videos, look at like, go through it step by step. Nobody can tell you that it is their process. It's the government process, or GDPR process, data protection process. Nobody can say it's theirs and they own it. It tells you how to do it specifically, step by step, right? Now I might be putting some meat on the bones of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attach all of the SARs that I do to here, and it's all free. Okay, so the idiot that's trying to say that it's all his property and putting up, like, you know, more images of me. He's not just the only one. Like I say, you know, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm very happily married. You know, like, stop putting up your models of me up on your bedroom wall and on your Facebook wall. All right, you're not going to get anywhere. And but. You can't go telling people that you own, well, unless you are the government. Are you Mr. and Mrs. Government? Are you Mr. GDPR? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to find out, won't we? Very, very strange people. Anyway, so I'll put all of the SARs on there so you can go and download them. You have to actually work with them, make them yours. Don't just send off a complete nutter template. You know, make it your comfortable wording so you can send it off. And you are entitled under GDPR. Article 15 tells you you are an individual. You are entitled to ask for all of your data that they hold on you and what they're doing with it. Okay? Now, if they've alleged, right, oh, we've purchased your debt, all right, anything that is under the Landlord Property Act, any bit of property, a debt is a thing, a chosen action, it is property. Is classed as property by that act, and it has to be transferred by a deed, in this case a deed of assignment, Do not let them lie to you. Do not let them put you off. Make sure you get it. And it's nobody's property, right? The debt might be your property and they're trying to sell it, say they've bought it, but the actual methods on GDPR is nobody's property, right? Apart from the government that actually created the legislation. They must have done it to help protect themselves, didn't realize we could use it as well so effectively. But it's there to be used. It's nobody's property. It is not anyone's like intellectual property, and nobody's stealing anything. Don't listen to fools and petulant little children that want to put images up of other men. At least it's a real man that they're putting the images up, right? You know, and instead of like, you know, they're acting like petulant little children. Be a man, and if you've got a problem, come and see me. I'm gonna worry about it. Right, you want to go and talk it over, you want to straighten it out, get in the gym, all right? Pop up, we'll sort it out, no problem. Right, stop being little keyboard warriors and doing all of this nonsense like petulant little boys. So, have a look there in the description, all right? And get into, and by the way, like, you know, like, where, like, try and find out, like, I'm talking about GDPR, I'm talking about legislation, acts of parliament, Law of Property Act, ACT, it's an act, all right? Got nothing to do with like free man on the land nonsense. Got nothing to do with like claiming your straw man. That was a good snappy title, you know. We did it like talking about John Harris, straw man, nature of the cage, because he was a legend, you know. That's some. I think that they're probably jealous because they all wanted to be like him and they couldn't be because they're just petulant little boys. Unfortunately, no longer with us. But I'm talking about like on how to actually use legislation, because sometimes you have to be in public and sometimes you have to be private. But on the public side, when they're actually attacking you through debt, saying that they have a legally executed deed of assignment, it's got nothing to do with claiming a straw man. I don't know what that would actually mean. It was just a good title for a website. Again, more embarrassment from others. But then, you know, definitely not free man on the land, because we're actually using government legislation that someone is claiming that he created and it's all his. Phew. Anyway, so I'm away to get some eggs. I don't eat eggs, by the way. They're only for the dogs because of the protein stuff that we mix it in with the herbs and minerals, and it helps them get that because they're all on like raw meat, you know. Ugh. But and we just like literally, it's not processed meat. We've took them off completely processed meat. It's just you're literally getting them a chicken, right? Like, well, not a whole chicken. I don't think they're only little, but you know, so you hear them crunching and chewing up. Ugh, yak. But anyway, it's really good for them. It's good for the bones. It's good for the stomach. It's good for their mental health as well. And they are a carnivorous predator, and they need to be treated as such. All right. Going to get the eggs for them then and get back before the appointment, and hopefully they're going to be okay with the appointment with the bioresonance treatment that we've had for them. So take care, and I will see you all soon.